The building occupied by the Museum of the History of Science was built as the Ashmolean Museum in 1683. It was erected by the university to house the famous Tredescant and Ashmolean collections, as well as to accommodate a chemical laboratory in the basement and a space for teaching the new experimental natural philosophy, what we today might call science. This space, originally called the School of Natural History, is now the entrance gallery. This was the first museum building in the world, in the sense of a building specifically designed to be a museum. But it also housed activities that we do not often associate with early museums, such as experiment and teaching. When you leave the entrance gallery, look back at the title painted over the door: Schola Naturalis Historiae, the School of Natural History. The showcases on either side of the exit contain the kind of things that were used in this room in the 18th century. The Museum of the History of Science opened in this building in 1925. It's particularly famous for its very early scientific instruments, and the central area of the entrance gallery illustrates the breadth of the collection, from Western Europe through the Islamic lands to the Far East, and from science to what we today would think of as magic. Then, in the four corners of the entrance gallery, are four of the museum's important individual collections. Einstein's blackboard was used in a lecture in Oxford on the 16th of May 1931. At that time, his theories of relativity were being combined with astronomical data to explain the shifts towards the red in the spectra of distant galaxies, which indicated that the universe was expanding. In his lecture, Einstein outlined a fairly simple model to explain this apparent expansion. The last four lines on the blackboard contain numerical data giving values for the density, radius, and age of the universe, where Lj stands for Lichtjahr, light year, and J for Jahr, meaning year. According to the last line, the age of the universe is about 10 or perhaps 100 billion years. The bracket indicates an alternative figure, not a product of two figures. Einstein's blackboard deals with some of the most fundamental questions in cosmology.
The Iron Age and La Tène art. During the 3rd century BC, an art style appeared in Ireland that had been developed centuries earlier by Celtic peoples in Central Europe. It is known as the La Tène style, after a site in Switzerland where objects decorated in the style were found. The style was influenced heavily by vegetable and floral designs of classical art of the Mediterranean world. However, unlike classical designs, which were naturalistic, La Tène art developed a more abstract version that showed a particular preference for the use of curved lines. These were used in designs that were often laid out using a compass. In Ireland, La Tène ornament continued to be an important component of the Christian art of the early medieval period, used to decorate fine metalwork, stonework, and manuscripts. By the time La Tène art appeared in Ireland during the 3rd century BC, metalsmiths had mastered the techniques of smelting and forging tools and weapons of iron. This period, up to the introduction of Christianity in the 5th century AD, is referred to as the Iron Age.